it's on, and I'm back. See, I said I'd be fast. Okay, everything's working. Fantastic. So for adding binding onto a quilt, I'm using my 1/4" piecing foot. So I'm doing an exact 1/4". And let's do the GameCube first. Let's get that baby out of the way. Now this is the end that I'm sewing first, so I don't want to lose this. And what I'm doing is I'm looking for the very bottom of the quilt. Alright, and before I put this on, I'm going to roll the area I'm adding the binding to. I'm not going to worry about the back because I'm going to do that one later and I'll show you what I do. Okay, now I need to just find out where my center is. So, about right here is my center. So what I'm going to do, this is the very center of the bottom, I'm going to lift up the top part of it and just sew on the bottom for about 3 inches. And then lift it off. And then I'm going to take the top and then put the top part down, and where I left off with the bottom fabric, I'm going to start the top. So I've sewed the bottom on for about 3 inches. As you see, there's about 3 inches between here and there. And now I'm going to start sewing onto the top of it. Now, I'm not worried about if there's any hair on here because I'm going to remove it in the next step. Dang it, I'm out of bobbin thread. I knew I was running out too whenever I was assembling. There we go. Oh, I do want to. There's a lot of hair on there. Take that off. And you just sew it straight on until you get to the end. That's what I thought. I was going too fast. I broke the upper thread. It's completely my fault. Yep. Oh, and then I don't know if I showed you. So all I'm doing is I'm adding on the binding directly on the edge. So here's the edge of the quilt. I'm going to take the raw edge of the binding. So here's the folded over part. And I'm sewing the raw edge of the binding to the edge of the quilt with a 1/4 inch seam. Now I'm going to go all the way out to the edge. And I'm going to stop about 1/2 inch from the very edge of the corner. And then I'm going to cut the thread. Trim all the threads. Now, here is the trick. For the corner, you want to take your binding and you want to fold it away from the piece you have. So now there's a 45-degree angle there. And then fold it towards the other direction. So if you lift this up here, there's a little flap here that should be laying down against what you just sewed. And then turn it. And you want to start sewing about 1/2 inch from the very edge. And then just keep doing the same thing you did before. And got a bunch of hair, so I'm going to clean it off. I know I don't have to, but this is going to make it easier for the next step if I just clean a bunch now. Oh, I have to stop going so fast. You know, I'm going to change my needle. I'm going to see if that's the issue. Okay, let's put in the top stitch needles. Okay. Oops. Yeah, and this is just a double quilt. Imagine when I make queen size quilts, or even king size. I tend to try to stay away from king size quilts. There's the pain in the butt to quilt on this machine, and the binding is a pain. Oh, I am, yes. See, I said I wasn't going to be very long. It was only a few minutes. So I found out my husband and Jordan, oh, it's not the needle, did leave. Apparently, they are out getting accessories for the T-Rex costume. Don't quite know what that means. excuse me. I almost always sneeze a second time, so I always wait for it. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I know, right? It's like they're getting accessories. So I don't know if they're going to try to find like a top hat and cane, or maybe a lei, or I don't know. Skirt. They didn't take the cape. So whatever they get's not going to match the cape. So that's why he wasn't answering me when I was yelling at him to shush Soleil. Okay, so at the corner, I'm stopping about a ½ inch from the end. I'm cutting it and trimming the thread away. And then I am folding the binding away at a 45-degree angle and then folding it towards. This one is the hardest, which is why I picked it to go first. Get it out of the way. Okay, starting about a ½ inch from the edge. Yeah, I'm almost kind of afraid to see what they come back with. I don't think he realizes I'm going to Facebook Live on Friday when he's wearing it. I'll make sure I Facebook Live on my business page. Ugh. Alright, trimming the corner, folding it away, and folding it towards. I'm being too rough. Trying to go too hard and too fast. Almost to the end of this one. Alright, away, towards, and turn. Alright, and this is the last corner. So as I get close to the middle of the bottom, I'll slow down. Oh, hi Cap, how are you? How is Turkey this evening? Okay, so the correct way of doing this is you would have started it right here. You would not have secured this part down, and somehow you sew this part to this part, and it's all nice and pretty, and there's a way to do it. I could figure it out, but this way for me is faster, and it works, and it looks fine for me. Now, if I enter a quilt into a competition, it is not going to fly. They won't accept it. So this is good for my quilts and for commissions, but not for competition. This is what I do. I get really close. I take this flap right here. Oh, let me trim the thread. I pick this part up right here, and I measure. So about that much is going in. So I cut a little bit off I don't need. I take this, I tuck it in, I fold this over, and then I sew over it. And that's it. And it's all one solid piece that's not coming out. So, GameCube binding is done. And I am good today. Ugh. I am working on getting all of my binding done for my quilts that I've been working on. Harder one's done. Now for the easier ones. Alright, so here's the piece that I saved. See how much easier that is to find the bottom on the smaller quilts? Alright, so the bottom middle. Man, I drank that too fast. See how much faster those lap quilts are? That one's done. Yeah, see, it's the bulk of it. It's like what people don't understand sometimes why the bigger quilts are so much more expensive. Well, it's not just the design and the work that goes into it. It's the bulk and getting it through the machine and trying to take care of it. I was going along and tried to speed up and can't do that. So the thread breaks. It's very hard to mess this up. Once you know what you're doing, especially with the corners, putting binding on is actually super easy. There's a lot of people that put binding on by hand. Yeah, that takes way too long. Especially since I only charge $75 right now for my panel quilts. And this is also why I said yesterday that I didn't worry about those basting stitches because you weren't going to see them. This binding covers it up. Yeah, and that's the thing, is that's why for the quilting, I don't do a lot of designs. I just do a big meander. A lot of the people that buy the quilts, they don't care about the design that's in the quilt. They don't care how the binding's made. All they care about is the design that's on the quilt and will it keep them or their kids warm. Oh, I almost forgot. I need to poke my friend to look at one of my papers for me. Okay. You know, brownies sound good right about now. I have some Girl Scout cookies upstairs. Now I want some Girl Scout cookies. I have a friend in California whose daughter had to sell a couple of more boxes to get to the next level, so I bought a case. Had it shipped to my Maryland address and then brought it back with me when I came up. So I got a case of Girl Scout cookies. I mean, it was expensive to ship, and it was the same cost to ship one box or a case. May as well just get a whole case. I mean, they're gonna get eaten eventually, right? See, in Canada, they have Girl Guides. And the Girl Guides only have two kinds of cookies they sell. They sell the mint cookies, the thin mint cookies, and they sell vanilla chocolate cookies. That's it. They don't have any other flavors. No peanut butter, no shortbread, none of that stuff. It's weird. You know I'm totally going to go get some Girl Scout cookies whenever I'm done streaming, right? Yeah, that's it. That's all they... And I asked my husband about that. I'm like, why do they only have those two kinds of cookies? He says that's what they've always had. Apparently, they sell one flavor in the fall and one in the spring. I don't remember which one is which. So in the fall, you can only get, like, let's say it's Thin Mints. You can only get Thin Mints. So if you buy Girl Guide cookies, you're buying Thin Mints. And then in the spring, you can only get the vanilla chocolate. You can't get anything else, just vanilla chocolate. I guess it's more economical for the company, just to worry about making one kind of cookie, but at a time. Num, num, num. See? Oh, those cookies you put up. Making me want cookies. I cleaned out the freezer the other day, and I found a small tub of the Ben & Jerry's peanut butter, the chocolate peanut butter scoop stuff. I apparently bought like 2 months ago, and I'm like, I forgot I had this. And I was going to throw it away thinking it had freezer burn. And I looked at the top. I never even opened it, so it's still good. So I have an unopened thing of ice cream in my freezer as well. Oh, the things you find when you clean. Yeah, I may do that. You know, oh, I should open the Do-si-dos. The Do-si-do Girl Scout cookies with the Ben & Jerry's peanut butter and chocolate. Yeah, that's a good comment. That's a nice evening dessert. And maybe a glass of wine to go with it. Oh, I'm out of bobbin thread. Because, you know, a glass of wine goes with everything, especially whenever you're sewing. Alright, let's change the bobbin thread. Oh, come on. I know it's past 8. I figure I'm going to go until I start to get tired. Since my family's not here, I know that we're not going to go play Borderlands. No, I just keep it room temperature. I never really put anything in the fridge. For cookies, I mean. There is a really nice Shiraz that I found. It's an Australian Shiraz. It is delicious. So I'm like, that's all I want to drink lately. So when I go to the store, I buy like 5 bottles of that, and it lasts me a month. I may have to try them cold. I may have to pop those Thin Mints in the fridge and try them cold then. Because I don't know if it's common knowledge outside the quilt world, but in the quilt world, a lot of quilters like wine. It is a delicious thing. Oh, going too fast. Come on, Tony, slow it down. Stop breaking your thread. At least it's on this one and not my piecing machine, because this one has an automatic threader. The piecing machine doesn't. I actually have to thread it every single time. Yeah, everything is better with wine. During quilt festivals, they have an iron quilter challenge. It's super cool. It's a lot of fun. And during the iron quilter, they have different teams that compete with each other. So just like with like Iron Chef or Iron anything else that's iron, they have like teams of 4 or 5, and they're given a stack of fabric, and they have a certain amount of time to turn it into a quilt. And then the audience cheers and votes for the quilt that they like the best, and that's who wins. So during the iron quilter, of course, there's a cash bar with a lot of wine. Now the ladies that are participating in the iron quilter don't consume the wine, but the audience and everyone watching, oh yeah, no, there's lots of wine. Oh. Alright, I think I'm going to do one more for the night. See, because now you got me thinking about cookies and ice cream. Although I do have to sew something for Jord. She sent me a message from school today asking if I could sew a piece of Velcro on something for robotics club. I said, depends what it is. Apparently it's just a strap. They need a Velcro on both sides of this piece of strap. So I'm like, okay, that's easy. So I've got to do that tonight. have a jeans needle. Yeah, I do have jean, okay. Because I would need the jeans denim needle for the Velcro. I know I'm rushing and I need to slow down, and then I start to rush again. And there's that one. Yeah, I can tell I'm probably done with putting binding on because my fingers are starting to bother me. It's the repetitive motion of doing the same thing over and over, of the lifting it up, putting it down, lifting it up, putting it down. And with all that stuff I've been doing lately, I should take a break. So I am done for the night. There's only 3 more lap quilts that have to get the binding be put back on. So if I have time tomorrow, I'll get that done. So that tomorrow's stream, I will start out with the next step, which is the flipping it over and pinning into place. So there is 2 more steps to go. You've got that, and of course putting my label on, and then doing the final sewing. So I will show the pinning and the final sewing tomorrow night, and that is all binding. And you know how to put binding on now. So Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. I'm gonna go get some Girl Scout cookies. I'll see you guys tomorrow.